summer, the empire at our fingertips, the autumn to discover. If I would have had the worthiness to be the perfect lover, would you stay under the willow tree when I asked if you would be? Would you be my Valentine? Still I lie within the memory devoted.
Making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday. It's a chance to start over new, 'cause I missed you so I'm late.
side and keep your eyes open. See those hot rivets?